What's going on, Jerome's? Minnesota Vikings head coach Kevin O'Connell fed the local media jackals on Monday, the first practice without fans at TCO Performance Center Bar and Grill. But he's their hat model, so good. Also, I found out that the hoodie is actually a cutoff hoodie over a thermal layer, as opposed to just one unit altogether, which looks good. Although the cutoff hoodie is like $84. How does that cost more than a regular hoodie? It's literally less material. Anyways, said some stuff and some things and some things and some stuff. First off, a big practice for the starters to get some work because obviously they're not going to play Friday in the preseason finale. Didn't play. Most of them didn't play on Saturday against the Patriots, but be a nice practice to stretch the legs a little bit. Be good to go. Also, someone practicing will be Justin frickin' Jefferson, going to practice today in a ramp up, all that stuff. And the whole goal was always to get him ready for week 1. So there you go. Also gave Jefferson credit. Great job doing work with the training team, the medical team, etc. And also, it's like sometimes you got to save players from themselves. But Jefferson, everything sounds positive, and this sounds way better than Kevin O'Connell talked about. It's just routine soreness. All right, but I feel confidence that Jefferson will be there in 3 weeks. Yeah, 3 weeks. Monday Night Football against the Bears. Hey, the Bears won a preseason game. Ooh, yeah. I cannot wait until Caleb Williams gets benched. They go 5-12, and then we can just flash that Bills 38-0 score. 2 years in a row, by the way. Yeah. Metellus is in the same boat as Jets. Avoided major injury. Got dinged up on that Hail Mary at the end of Patriots during practice on Thursday, but seemed good to go. Did a drive-by with the media on Thursday. Said that he was fine, but everything seems to be copacetic, and it's important because Metellus is a huge part of that defense. Also, he liked most of being mic'd up, and they even talked to him about being mic'd up during the regular season. First off, if you win a dozen drill parties in the next 10 years, I feel like you can be mic'd up during the regular season. It's fine. I think it's really stupid, when baseball does it. It's just like, let the manager manage, let the coach, all this stuff, right? But as of right now, we'll get a Super Bowl or two. They will let you talk during the game. Also, after O'Connell is done here, winning a dozen drill parties in the next 10 years, like, he seems like a coach's coach for sure. But I feel like he would be so good on TV, like as a color commentator, calling games and stuff. It'd be fantastic. Yeah. Also, he gave a big shout out to Paul Allen as the best in the business. Yeah, that won't go to PA. Said 9 to noon. Also, speaking of wide receivers, they're going to evaluate Jalen Naylor this week. Said that he is week to week. He got a little surly with Kevin Seifert, who is not Carl Gersschmidt, when Seifert asked about potential surgery. They also say he's confident in the wide receiver room depth, but so I feel like after 4 years, we can sort of read between the lines with Kevin O'Connell pretty good, where if he doesn't prattle off names and give specific names and stuff, he's not very confident. And he didn't do that with the wide receiver room. Basically just said, hey, we got great examples out there, like 18 and 3 and even number 1, Jalen Naylor. Gave Hawkinson a shout out when asked about wide receivers for some reason. But you could tell like he's a little downtrodden because Lucky Jackson had this great opportunity, gave it away. Rondale Moore got hurt in the first play of preseason. But Deshaun Jones, Ty Felton, I feel like they did some good things as receivers. Then Thayer Thomas, Tim Jones been doing some good things, breaking late. Tim Jones breaks late. Everyone knows that. Miles Price out there doing some big time things. So there you go. But just watch when O'Connell doesn't like rattle off and name a bunch of individuals on their own. It feels like it's not into it. Maybe we're reading too much into it. Yeah. Anyways, defensive line talked about TID, Tyrant Ingram Dawkins. Everything we hope to be. Versatile, agile, hostile. Can play 5-tech. Can play a oversized edge rusher when specific teams are targeting the edge. Also lined up at some nose a couple snaps in the preseason, which is good to see. Plus, we talked about how Ingram Dawkins is a work in progress, like absolute physical freak. Didn't get the full complement of reps at Georgia, but TID is the prototypical better as an NFL player versus a college player. 100% believe that. And he talks about making a football makes sense plays, so pass breaking up, where if you're not getting home, get your arms up, get your hands up, and try and swap down a pass. That's a really underrated aspect about defensive linemen, where when you understand that you're not going to be getting a pressure or a sack, just being able to square up, and this is where height matters. Where you can see over the offensive linemen who are generally crouched down a little bit, as well as arm length matters, right? So be able to get your mitts up, hand size matters. Like, so, we make fun of the underwear Olympics and all these measurements and stuff. Well, he won't succeed because his hands are 9 7/8 versus 10. But that stuff does actually add up and matter at the end of the day. But also, stopping the run and the willingness to do that. Sounds like Ingram Dawkins is going to have a role in this defense early and often, which is good to see. And then eventually he'll progress. He'll become a stronger pass rusher, and it'll be good to go. Also, confident in the D-line depth, where he specifically named defensive line players. Also, shout out to Marcus Dixon, the marvelous Marcus Dixon, coaching the D-line. D-line, you want it. But, talk about Allen Hargrave, Phillips, J-Red, TID. Talk about Elijah Williams. Actually, he named every single player on the defensive line versus said nothing about the receivers. So I don't know. Didn't expand upon the LDR injury. So it might be something, might be nothing. Who knows? Also, speaking of coaching, talked about how Josh McCown, understanding, demanding a teacher. He's been in this role even when he was a player. Like, he was basically just the older brother, assistant quarterbacks coach de facto, even when he was a player. Plus, perfect coach to be an extension of me. Should put that on a Hallmark card. Really fantastic, right? But overall, it's kind of a short press conference, but got a couple of things. Mainly, Jefferson returned to practice today in some capacity as he ramps up, gets his legs under him to get ready for Week 1 Monday Night Football. Also, Metellus should be good to go, right? Naylor, I feel like this is one of those spots where he's definitely underplaying it. I don't know, just reading the tea leaves, I feel like that Naylor issue could be kind of serious, but I guess we'll find out. Anyways, your thoughts are thoughts. Kevin O'Connell fed the local media jackals on Monday, said some stuff and some things, and some stuff. That's it. You guys are the best. You know what to do. Skol, production value.